All right, welcome back. So, on the stock market front, interest rates falling, stocks rising. We got a record high this week. In fact, the Dow is up 1,000 points or so this week. And now the question is the Fed panicking? All right, let's ask the great Kevin O'Leary, chairman of O'Leary Ventures, Shark Tank investor, author of Cold Hard Truth on business, money, and life. So, Kevin, an interesting turn of events in the last few weeks, with bond yields falling quite a lot, stocks rising quite a lot. And the Fed yesterday, or the Fed on Wednesday, kind of sort of threw in the towel on the inflation fight. And now the market, in its wisdom, is suggesting, I don't know, 5, 6, or even 7 Federal Reserve policy rate cuts, which strikes me as irrationally exuberant. But the question is, what do you think about this story?
I think you nailed it, Larry, when you said science, sort of, kind of, because what the Fed really said, and then through other spokespersons walked it back, was that rate cuts are imminent. That is not quite factually correct. The tonality of what occurred this week was maybe we're at the peak cycle in terms of rate hikes. And so here we are at a terminal rate of 5.5%. And the market is now saying that's it. We're not ever going to get to 6. So that's one risk the market perceives off the table. So now you know as bad as it's going to get on terminal rates. And then the question became, when is the first cut? And if you listen to Powell, you probably feel pretty good about Q1 until the next day, when other members started talking about, well, that's not exactly what he means, and, you know, we just want to keep our optionality open. And I totally get that. I mean, they got a lot. They always get criticized. The best thing you can ever do is criticize the Fed. I do it, you do it, everybody does it. That poor guy, that's all he gets, criticism. But what the big market thinks globally is that he has actually engineered a soft landing. And Larry, that practically never happens. Right. So here we are, looking at a very interesting time in the economy.
You know, I mentioned this last night. We had John Carney from Breitbart on, but if you take a look, forget about the Fed. Market interest rates came down before the Fed had this awakening that inflation fight was over. And commodity prices, including energy prices, but the CRB futures, the Bloomberg commodities, the Goldman Sachs commodities, every major commodity index in the last 2 months has fallen about 15 or 20%, even while market rates, like the 10-year's gone from over 5% to now under 4%. It's like 390. I find that very interesting, Kevin. It's a whiff of deflation. And I'm not, you know what? I think the Fed should not panic. They could use a little deflation because they've given us 3 years of inflation, and families are suffering because of the inflation. You know, energy prices, grocery prices, all kinds of food prices and so forth and so on, mortgage rate prices. Why not have a little deflation? The world's not going to hell in a handbag. In other words, I don't want to see the Fed tighten and start pouring money in, because the Biden administration continues to spend a lot of money, and they'll just blow this thing up again.
Well, that's an issue because we've still got $2 trillion to come through in the CHIPS and Science Act and the Inflation Reduction Act. That's a lot of printing of money. Yeah. You could be, you know, there's always something to worry about, Larry. I love to worry about everything every day. But the best analogy I can give anybody listening to what happened is we're on a roller coaster. We're on the way up to the top of the roller coaster. You know, when you're in it, you're dick, 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 going up to the top, and you're getting nervous about the big plunge down on rates. And we're right at the top. We're right there, about to start going down. We're just not sure how many minutes or days we have to wait before the roller coaster starts going down. So if you're an optimist, as I have to be as an investor, I took advantage of this. I'm long equities, and it was the right thing to do. And this is another lesson. I know you know this lesson, Larry, because you've been around long enough to know. I spent my whole day telling people, you cannot time the market. Right. You need to be long on days like this and weeks like this, where you get 10% of the return in 48 hours. We just saw it happen. Now, whether people are right or wrong, that's a debate. But you made 1/10 of the returns in 1 hour this week. So get over it, everybody. That's just the way the market is.
No, you're quite right. The Kudlow Trust has done well. I'm almost always long the spiders, the index. They're cheap. It's inexpensive, and I can't outguess the market. I've only been doing this about 50 years from my career, and I have learned from my Old professor at Princeton, Burton Malkiel, you cannot outguess the market. Better to buy the broad indexes. And you're quite right. So you have this dramatic move where all of a sudden you blink your eyes, Kevin, and the Dow Jones is at a new record high. Okay, you wouldn't have known that 3 weeks
Larry,
ago. You wouldn't have known that 5 weeks ago. You probably wouldn't have known that 5 days ago.
The only guy cheaper than you, Larry, is me. I hate paying fees. So I just use ETFs. I'm the same way. I've got all kinds of ETFs, and they work. That's the whole idea. But this week was remarkable returns. If you were not in the market, you left them behind. You can't make them up. Very good point. But we're not out of the woods yet. We've still got lots of issues to worry about. And I like a wall of worry. That helps. Most people are, frankly, underinvested right now. By the way, you made money on bonds, too. My corporates went through the roof this week. I'm just a happy camper this Friday.
That's it. Sit back and enjoy it. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a happy, holy Merry Christmas. Season's greetings, whatever it is. It's terrific stuff. Wealth is a good thing. Kevin O'Leary, wonderful to see you again. Thanks ever so much.
Take care.